Hello, everybody. My name is Marzena Błaszczyk. I am with the Citizens Network Watchdog Poland. We are the Freedom of Information organization, which is now active for more than 21 years. We have a legal clinic, and we are helping citizens and different organizations with freedom of information cases, but also with citizen-related cases. And since last year, also with SLAPs, so strategic lawsuits against public participation. And in 2024, we have won a case before the European Court of Human Rights. Today, I want to share a story about the elections, presidential elections in 2020 in Poland. But it's not a story about election, it's a story about how politicians abuse their power, about their ruthlessness, but also about how, as a society, we're fighting back. And to understand the whole story, you must first learn some basic facts about the elections. So, in Poland, the main provisions about elections is, of course, constitution. We have an electoral code, and marshal of the same, so the speaker of the parliament, is the organ, the institution that orders an election. We also have three bodies who are taking part in organizing the election: National Election Commission, National Electoral Office, and also regional and district electoral commissions. And what is very important in this story, that before we have the central voters register, the voters registers were managed by the local executive power, so for example by mayors, by municipal heads, or the city presidents. And also other important facts: we have postal voting in Poland, but it's addressed mainly to the elderly people or people with different disabilities, and you must apply for it, and you can then vote when you receive the special voting package. It's more complicated than regular casting a vote during the election. And in 2015 election, so 10 years ago, only 42,000 people used this kind of voting. Most of people went to the cast their votes into the precincts, and that's how it usually goes. And what is also important, those elections were supposed to happen in pandemic, and at that time we had Law and Justice, so the right-wing party ruling with the majority in the Sejm, the lower chamber of parliament. We had Mateusz Morawiecki as a prime minister, and Andrzej Duda, also from Law and Justice, as a president. He was ending his first term. But in the higher chamber, in Senate, there was a majority of the opposition. But when the bill, any bill, is passing the Polish parliament, first is being voted in the lower chamber, then it can be voted or not by the second chamber, and then the lower chamber is voting one more time, and they can overturn what has happened in the higher chamber. So if you do not have majority in both chambers, it's just better to have the majority in the lower chamber to pass the law that you want to pass. And in 2020, we were supposed to have an election on 10th of May. In February, the Marshal of Sejm ordered the election at that date. And this date connects to the end of the term of the President Duda, and his term was supposed to end it on the 6th August 2020. But because of the coronavirus pandemic, everything has changed. So on March 20, we have in Poland declared the state of epidemic, and the government was thinking what to do, how to have these elections. They could also see that the popularity of president is going down because of the pandemic, but also because of the decisions that they have to make. So in the beginning of the April, they decided to pass a law, and in this law, they decided that not those institutions that I mentioned will be organizing the election, but it will be done in the postal way, and the main organizer of the election is going to be the Polish Postal Office. And this law from the 6th of April didn't get the approval of the Senate, because they can wait 30 days to, you know, give their remarks or change the law or provisions. And because the opposition have had a majority there, they were waiting those 30 days. So the Law and Justice knew that they won't have an answer from this upper chamber before the 6th of May, and elections were supposed to happen on the 10th of May. So they decided, the Prime Minister decided that they are going also to pass the other law, and on the 16th of the April they change some provisions of the electoral code, and then also they decided to go with the Prime Minister signed the decisions that the elections will be organized, but there was no any legal base for it, because even if it was voted by the lower parliament, it wasn't signed into the law by the president, and president just have done it on the May 8th and in the middle of the April, the Prime Minister sent the decision with other documents to each of the municipalities in Poland. So they sent the letters to 2,477 communities, and they urge communities to give the voters' data to the postal office. At the same time, different institutions, different organizations also starting writing letters that there is no legal basis for such action, and that mayors, head of communes and presidents shouldn't release this data to the post office. So there was a lot of letters from different organizations, but because Personal Data Protection Office was also overtaken by Law and Justice, and also the representatives of the central administration in regions, voivodes, were also overtaken by Law and Justice. They sent letters reassuring the mayors and presidents that this is a safe way to act, and they should release this data of voters to the Polish Postal Office. And even Andrzej Rzepliński is a former head of the Constitutional Tribunal of Poland. He also decided to write such a letter to each of the municipalities and communities. But as you can imagine, there was a big chaos because no one, some smaller communities didn't know what to do, who to trust. And there's the place when we come in. Using our Fedrowanie platform or data mining platform, we send the Freedom of Information request to all of the municipalities. And we just ask about whether the data of voters has been provided to Poczta Polska, so the Polish Postal Office, and or whether they are planning to do, because the Prime Minister gave some time for giving the data. And it took us some time to get the whole information. But what is interesting, the pro-democratic or ruled by democratic leaders communities give us information right away. And also, in the end, every municipality have responded, but with some we had to go to the court. And in the meantime, we had help of different volunteers, or people were calling us that, for example, during some local radio broadcast, the mayor told us that he released the data to the Poczta Polska. So we were getting replies from different municipalities, but at the same time, the citizens were informing us about the status of the data. So at the time, we gathered the data and we prepared the report, and this report was sent to media around Poland, and it was very loud at that time. And we also prepared a map when you can see in green there are municipalities which didn't release the data to the Poczta Polska. In yellow, the one that released. In black, this is one community in the west of Poland. The mayor released the data, but he died. And why is that important? It's because we decided to go to the court with each of the community head or municipality head or mayor or president of the city who decided to give the data to the Poczta Polska. So in the end, we sent 477 criminal complaints, and one case and 268 cases were joined in one case in Szamotuły court, and this case is still pending. And when prosecutors got our complaints, usually our cases were dismissed. So in each cases, we were going to the courts and we were appealing, and many courts uphold our appeals. So we had one case, it's from Wapno. Wapno is a small village in Wielkopolskie region, and it has like 1,700 inhabitants. And in this case, court ruled that he found the mayor guilty, but it was discontinued for the criminal proceedings. And what is interesting, it was also upheld in the higher chamber of the court. And because of that case, we had the system fighting, striking back. And in 2022, in March, during the debate about how to support Ukraine, one of the members of the Polish government, when discussing the act about support for Ukraine, started to mentioning that the people who are making decisions during these hard times like war in Ukraine, but also these hard times like pandemic, they need some protection. So they should not be accountable for bad decisions. And there was an example of this poor mayor from Wapno, who was, found guilty. And in the end of the year, the parliament passed amnesty law. What you can see on the screen is the whole act. So they are just making themselves unaccountable. But at the same time, our ombudsman started the case before the administrative courts, and in September 2020, administrative court stated that the decision by Prime Minister about organizing the elections in 2020 was unlawful, and then Supreme Court upheld this ruling in 2024. After 2023 parliamentary election, the Commission of Inquiry emerged, and they also found that some members, high members of the previous government are guilty. So there are 10 notifications to the prosecution office. They are still pending, and we don't know how it's going to end, but probably there are going to be some prosecution acts from it. And this year, new Personal Data Protection Office put a fine on the Poczta Polska, so the Polish Postal Office, but also on the Ministry of Digital Affairs, which was helping organizing the 2020 election. So to sum up, what was our biggest win? That we received in the end responses from all of the municipalities. We filled more than 400 notifications of suspected criminal offenses. There was one case almost won, and politicians really fear of consequences. So it led to the amnesty law. We have a Supreme Administrative Court ruling. We have the fine by the Personal Data Protection Office, and the Commission submitted 10 notifications to the prosecutor's office. And there is this one case when our 268 cases joined, and we are still waiting how it's going to end. Thank you very much. Please talk to us. That's our team in Mechelen if you want to know more details. Thank you.